Hello, everyone. This is Suzanne at the Gospel Truth. Welcome back. I had a couple of rough days. That's why I wasn't on. But I'm back now, feeling a little better. And we're going to dig right in. We are reading from the Master Potter, Joe Austin. It's an allegory. And we have been reading about Beloved. And Beloved is being drawn away by Enchanter now. If you have missed any of these, you can go back and get caught up, or you can kind of dig in right now. I try to explain what's been going on. Beloved has been on a journey with the Lord, and he's been shaping her into what he needs her to be for his kingdom. But now Enchanter came along, and he's trying to entice her away. And next we're going to be reading about meeting his mother. What does a girl think when a guy wants to invite you to meet his mom? Sounds like it may be getting serious, right? Hold on a second. I dropped something I got to pick up before my dog gets it. All right, there we go. All right, so let's get started right away. And we're just going to read as far as we can, or till my voice gives out today. If you want to listen to it in listen to half of it, then come back, listen to another half. That would be awesome. But I want us to get through this book by the end of December. Hopefully we can do it within the next couple of weeks, so we'll see. All right, let's get started. Oh, one more thing before I forget. Nana Kathleen, I got your headband made. It turned out adorable. I already put it in the packaging before I took a picture of it or showed it on my video. Sorry about that. But it is pretty. And I hope to be getting that out hopefully today. If not today, tomorrow. I have to go out. So I'm excited about that. All right, let's get started, shall we? And Joanne, one more thing. Joanne, thank you so much for that beautiful thank you card you sent me. It meant a lot to me. And I know you will be enjoying your hat. I hope it fit okay. Meeting his mother. Soon they arrived at the most prominent tent, tan in color. The tent's many decorative tassels dangle and sway in the gentle breeze. The entrance, formed by fastening back the two tent flaps, is covered with a billowy, sheer pink silk panel. Ferns and desert plants growing in large decorative blue and white pots are clustered on both sides of the entrance. Enchanter pushes the sheer panel aside, and Beloved follows him into the tent. Two servant girls dressed in bright colors and with veils across their faces bow low in greeting. Beloved looks around at the inside walls, a rich tapestry, brocade, and a subtle ivory on a white pattern. Light floods inside through the same kind of lowly silk panel that covers the doorway. Looking down, she's surprised to see she's standing on a plush, multi-hued Persian rug as big as a tent. Its dark, wide border contrasts with the light centered of floral design. In the middle of the tent is a low mahogany table, surrounded by overstuffed, multicolored pillows of silk and damask scattered around it. On the table is a huge vase of fresh flowers and greenery, and a blue oriental tea set. I had no idea a tent could be so opulent. My room at Madam's wasn't this nice. So she's taking this all in and just overwhelmed by the beauty of it all. The partition at the end of the tent opens, and Enchanter's mother steps out, the two servants by the door bow. Now I know where Enchanter gets his good looks, thinks Beloved. Mrs. Beguiler is so attractive, she looks more like Enchanter's sister than his mother. The same dark complexion, the same dark hair, even the green eyes. Well, with a name like Beguiler, Mrs. Beguiler, that's not good. This is the lost lamb I found in the wilderness. You won't believe what a beautiful name she has to adorn her lovely personality, Enchanter says with his usual flair. Her name is Beloved. We must be living right to have such a fine vessel come among us. Don't you agree? Mother, we simply must urge her to bless us with her lovely presence for a while. Boy, he's got a silver tongue. Taking Beloved's hand, she replies, You're most welcome here, dear. You must be tired after your long journey. I'm glad Enchanter was able to find you. I'm not sure how much longer you would have lasted in the desert with those city clothes. You must be from Comfort Cove. Well, I used to live there. Beloved stammers as she feels her face flush. What if they know, the influential people at Comfort Cove, and they find out about my past? Maybe they know Madam or Mayor Lecherous. She feels her heart beating and tries to take shallow breaths to calm herself. Enchanter says, When I was a child, our family went to the seashore there. But I haven't been to Comfort Cove for years. Every once in a while, white travelers come through from there, though. Beloved is desperate to change the subject. Well, you're right. This dress didn't keep me warm at all. I see your clothes are perfectly suited to this climate. Yes, they are, and I'm sure I can find something suitable for you to wear. Suddenly, Beloved is very self-conscious. She watches the way Mrs. Beguiler carries herself. She notices the elegant flow of the long dress and jewelry. Every mannerism is refined, graceful, and dignified. Always animated, Enchanter tells them. I have an important meeting with Father and the elders, and I should be back early this afternoon to show you around. I know you'll take good care of our beautiful guest, Mother. Enchanter smiles widely. Please sit, Beloved, says Mrs. Beguiler, motioning toward the low table. The tea is freshly brewed. Beloved crosses her legs and awkwardly shifts her weight to get centered on a royal blue embroidered pillow. With every graceful move of Mrs. Beguiler's hand, her exquisite silver bangles jingle just like the sound of a bell. As she pours the tea, Beloved gazes at the fine embroidery on the emerald green silk dress. Mrs. Beguiler's dark hair highlights her dangling gold earrings with inset rubies. The matching ruby and gold pendant hangs around her neck. A bath at last. Clapping her hands, Mrs. Beguiler summons several servant girls. She instructs them quietly. One returns with a plate of dates. The other sits in the corner and plays slow, yearning music on her flute. As Beloved finishes the last sip of tea, another servant appears. Please take Beloved to her quarters. Turning to Beloved, she smiles and says, You will find a hot bath and lovely robes awaiting you. The servant girl leads her behind another section of the tent, concealed by a floor to ceiling Damascus curtain. The servant silently bows to Beloved and pours perfumed spikenard from a beautiful translucent alabaster jar into the hot bath. From her pockets, she sprinkles rose petals. Beloved watches them glide through the air and gently land light on the water. She inhales the aromatic spikenard and smiles at the servant, who bows once more and leaves. Relieved that all of her troubles seem to be finally behind her, Beloved relaxes in the stillness of her perfumed bath. She soaks while listening to the gentle music of a distant mandolin. Who would have thought I'd end up in such a beautiful place and with such gracious people who love and serve Master Potter? I was so afraid I'd never get out of the wilderness. Oh, Lord, I need to trust you more. Just look at where you brought me. Did the Lord really bring her there? I don't think so. Falling in love. Later, Enchanter returns to find Beloved elegantly dressed in a long-sleeved silk dress with golden embroidery and matching gold jewelry. His face clearly shows his pleasure. Standing straight with her chin up, she's aware that he's examining her from head to foot. He brushes her cheek with his fingertips, and a thrill shoots up her spines. Without taking his eyes from her, he tells his mother, You've done a wonderful job. Isn't she beautiful? I can't wait to show her off. We'll be back for dinner after I give her the grand tour. Beloved's face turns bright red, as much from the touch of his hand as from the welcome flattery and attention. It has been a long time since a handsome man found her attractive. She feels the same rush of excitement that she used to derive from the standing ovations at Madam's Closing her eyes, she savors the feeling. She follows him outside into the bustling commune. He quickly takes her hand into his own as he leads her down the path. Beloved, do you know what kind of dress you're wearing? She shakes her head. It's called a malakat. It's derived from the word malakah, which means queen, and I must say you make a beautiful queen. The dress is made of the finest silk, and even the embroidery is silk thread. See the pattern across the chest piece, he says, gesturing. Here is geometric, and here it changes to the pattern of a cypress tree, he says, sliding his hand gently across the side of her breast. No, beloved isn't realizing the Lord don't look upon the outward appearance, does he? He looks on the inside appearance. I think beloved has forgotten that. Beloved doesn't know whether his touch was an accident or not, but he continues talking as though nothing has happened. Our family is very proud of this community. My great-grandfather established it. I come from a long line of pastors and leaders. I'm the associate pastor and worship leader of the church. One day I'll take the senior leadership as my father did before me. I hope to have a son one day who will follow in my footsteps, he said, squeezing her hand gently and pulling it through his arm. The thought that she might be the woman to bear his children and be the first lady of the commune floods her heart. Is this my destiny? She quickly pushes the thoughts away as she remembers where she came from and who she was in Comfort Cove. They continue walking past beautiful, highly decorative tents. What's all that noise? Asked Beloved. That's the marketplace on the outside of town. Do you remember that I told you a caravan arrived last night? Once a week we have a market day. When it coincides with the carnival's arrival, it's quite a sight. On the outskirts. As they continue walking, the tents become less and less opulent. They come to a watering hole where camels and other livestock are drinking, and shabbily dressed women and children are carrying water in earthenware jugs on their heads. Beloved looks at the tents on the outskirts. They are black, and some have patches. They are more like large blankets thrown over a wooden frame, totally lacking the elegance and opulence she'd seen earlier. Why are these people so poor? They're not poor. Beloved, they are workers. Every community needs employees. In nature, some are queens like you, and some are the worker bees. Their husbands work in our date orchards and tend to the animals while the women cook and clean our tents. Do they have all the rights others do? Of course they do. They even have a representative who is a deacon and meets with our board. Look at the children playing so freely. See how happy they are? That kind of care that the children get is a good indicator of the health of the community. They are well taken care of. All communities have different classes of people. The marketplace. They turn the corner, and the residential tents give way to a bustling marketplace. Stalls with brightly colored awnings line each side, forming a wide walkway. Everywhere people are milling. Children are running, and animals stroll as if they have no owners. Beloved can't believe how much chaotic activity she sees. So many people are making their way through. There is barely room to walk. Sweet and pungent aromas waft from the booths, spices she's never smelled before. Men are playing mandolins, flutes, and harps, making music in a style she's never heard before. All around, men and women dressed in clothing styles she's never seen. Everywhere she looks, it's like a celebration of her senses. This is a long way from Comfort Cove, she thinks. Men gather in front of the vendor who is selling flatbread and fresh lamb roasting over a spit. As they eat, they take turns rolling the dice in a friendly game of chance. Between rolls, they catch up on the news from afar and the local gossip, sometimes having to raise their voices to be heard over the ruckus. Heads turn when they see the striking couple walk by. Several wonder aloud who the beautiful woman is on Enchanter's arm. Women look on with jealousy as the curvaceous beloved walks arm in arm with the most eligible bachelor in deeper life. A sense of power and satisfaction floods her emotions as she realizes she is commanding the spotlight with her beauty and sensuality. She's becoming very carnal again. The first booth she stops at displays fine hand-woven rugs. The carded camel and sheep's wool has been dyed in rustic and vibrant colors. It feels so soft and plush as she rubs her hand against it. The next stall carries hammered metal, and brassware, incense burners, lamps, bells, plates, and bowls. The next has all manner of wooden products, from tiny carved toy camels to large pieces of elegant furniture. Every inch of every stall is packed with wares, on, under, and behind the counter, and hanging from the support poles overhead. Beloved notices the merchants engage in aggressive banter and battering with everyone walking by in an effort to make a sale, but no one has tried to sell her anything, even when she picked up a piece to examine it. How strange, she thinks as she continues walking arm in arm with Enchanter. Braids of garlic cloves hang from a booth where several women are clustered. Large gunny sacks with the top rolled down display yellow, red, and rusty orange spices behind the counter. Come here for the freshest saffron. This caspium is unusually potent. Come sniff these cloves, a spice vendor cries out. Women are buying large sacks of rice and carrying them always balanced on their heads. Some have their faces covered. Mostly are heavily adorned with jewelry. Beloved loves the exotic look of the ankle bracelets that many of them wear. Enchanter guides Beloved to the left, and they sidestep 2 black and white kid goats following their mother and the little boy running after them. She can't believe the exquisite handmade jewelry with brightly colored semi-precious stones. Displayed against a dark background, they glitter and sparkle as the sunlight bounces off the lovely pieces. What craftsmanship, she thinks. Over here is one of my favorite booths, says Enchanter. We'll trade our dates for these fine fabrics, he says as he motions to the elaborate display of solid and printed bolts of cloth. You probably noticed how beautiful our clothes are, and even our tents are. This is where it all comes from. Turning to Beloved, he asked, "What's your favorite color?" "Blue." He tells the merchant, "Please have every bolt of blue fabric delivered to my tent. I think it needs a woman's touch to update it." "That was easy," he says as they approach a lavish display of fruits and nuts. "Beloved, would you like to have a date with me?" She pauses, unsure if he means a fruit or companionship. "Well, which would you prefer?" he asks teasingly. Waking up her courage, she says, "Both." "Good," he replies. "Both can be arranged." On the counter are olives, dates, figs, raisins, pomegranates, and other strange-looking fruits she can't identify. Enchanter points as the merchant fills a bag full of dry delicacies and gives it to them as a gift. Just past the fruits is a table displaying perfumes, oils, and incense. Several ladies have congregated they are admiring the multicolored hand-blown perfume containers. Other vessels painted with beautiful flowers contain powders and ointments. The vendor calls out, "Frankincense, myrrh, spikenard, rose of Sharon, and lily of the valley." Recognizing the ivory-colored alabaster jar from her bath, she picks it up and inhales it deeply. Smiling, Enchanter says, "Beloved, you do have good taste. This is my favorite also." Madame False Destiny. Beloved sees several booths of religious artifacts, statues, idols, charms, altars, amulets, books, and candles. One booth even has a gypsy fortune teller. Beloved sets the alabaster jar down and walks from table to table looking at the merchandise. "Why do you let people sell these things?" questions Beloved, rather taken aback. "Well, we are on a major trade route, and people come from all over the known world. We have a gentleman agreement with them, and we can't prohibit them from selling any of their wares." "But people in your community could get deceived from these things." "Nonsense. We have very strict religious parameters around our people. The elders are the spiritual gatekeepers. These booths are only here on market days when the caravans come through. We can't stop this because we're in the middle of a trade route, and we really can't offend them by restricting what they can sell. Besides, whatever path people find that leads them to happiness is fine. We all end up in the same place." Oh, big lie. Big, huge lie. "I'm not sure I understand," questions Beloved. "Happiness is like a mountain with many paths leading at the treasure at the top. Each person must find his or her own pathway to personal purpose and satisfaction. There are many paths with only one destination for all mankind. Beloved will all end up at the top." "But don't you believe Master Potter is the son of God?" "Of course I do. But we are all sons and daughters of God. Besides, we have very strict rules, and we forbid them from proselytizing our youth. As I said before, you can tell a lot about a person or a community by how they care for their children." As they near the end of the marketplace, Enchanter sees Madame at a booth buying a book on spells. Several amulets and a large crystal. A knowing nod passes between them. This is the end of the market, he says quickly while turning her around the other way. We know we won't be buying from these booths, so let me take you back to the tent to rest, and I'll pick you up later for dinner with my family. Now, when they passed each other, Enchanter and Madam, a knowing passed between them, like, we're getting her back. Keep it going. We're getting her. We're pulling her away from the Master Potter. All right, we're going to end right there. It's been 20 minutes. And next, when we come on, which is tomorrow, prayerfully, Pastor Beguiler. And boy, is he a beguiler. All right, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed that reading today. I certainly did. Beloved is being drawn back into the world. All the bells and whistles and fine clothes and jewelry. And now Beguiler's asked her if she wanted a date. She said both. She's being just drawn into it. That's what Satan does. He draws us in by all his pretty baubles. But we must resist. We must never go there. All right, I'm going to quick show you something. I made this a long time ago. I never did get the second one made, so I'm going to get the second one made. These are called fingerless mitts. And this is how they look on. I like these because I have my fingers free for driving, for getting coins out of my purse, getting in my purse. I just think that these are pretty cool. And I need to get the second one made to this one. And then I dug out this yarn. I think I might make a pair of these for my daughter. My daughter's birthday's in January, so I'm thinking I'll make her a pair out of that for her birthday. To refresh myself, I'm going to go back to this one. And I have to learn a technique called the magic loop, which is on a circular needle. And it's a pretty cool technique. But you know, if you don't use it, what happens? You lose it. And then you have to go. I used to sew, do all kind of things. And now it's like, okay, how did I do that? We forget, don't we? So sometimes it's good to keep up with things when you can. All right, everyone, you have a blessed day in the Lord. And Lord willing, I will be back on tomorrow, and we will continue on with our wonderful story of Master Potter.